number system too, because France does that as well, where it's like, I forget what Paris, but like the Southwest is 33.
Yeah.
I think is that kind of area down there. 47.
Yeah.
That's a great number.
Well, that's a kid.
Right.
Okay.
Are you starting a season?
Yes. Because the live stream people are already turning.
Oh, gotcha.
Thank you for waking us up this morning, Reiko. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone this morning here in the sanctuary and online. I am Laura Shennum. I'm Minister of Congregational Life, and I have the pleasure of a very full chancel this morning. My colleague in ministry, Reverend Vanessa Rush Southern, one of our graduating seniors, Jackson Munn, another graduating senior, Isabel Murray, and our worship associate, Sam King, as well as others who will be joining us up here today as well. We are supported this morning by our many, many volunteers, to our musicians, to the people that run our sound and cameras, to our greeters, to our ushers, to the people that clean our spaces and make them beautiful for us, as well as the people that take care of our children. We are so grateful for all the work they do for us to come together every Sunday morning in community. If you're joining us today for the first time, I hope you grabbed an order of service on your way in. If you're at home, then you can find the link to the order of service in the description of the service. This order of service will help you follow along with what's going on in the service, as well as in the back, there's some frequently asked questions that might help you acclimate to the sanctuary and to our service. If after the service you still have questions, feel free to find somebody with an official name tag, and they would be happy to answer those questions. If they are unable to, they will point you in the direction of somebody that can. We are so happy that you're joining us today. Welcome. There are many ways for us to accommodate people in our space. If you would like to sit in a mask-only section, it's over here on my left side, your right. If you have a furry friend, we have a section over here where you can sit with them and enjoy their presence. We also have hearing-assisted devices that you can ask our ushers for if you need them. If there's anything else that you need in this space, please let us know, and we will try to accommodate as best we can. Our monthly theme for May is Awakening Curiosity. And I love that the month starts off with our annual youth service in approaching that topic. We will have the opportunity to learn how curiosity can be a spiritual practice to help us learn more about our faith and be a little less judgmental. So in the spirit of that curiosity, I invite you to bring the fullness of who you are in your heart into this time and gathering. May we be curious in this time we spend together and allow it to re-energize us for what we need in the week ahead. Let us enter into a time of worship, a time we set aside to honor the meaning of this community and this faith in our life. Welcome.
And now let's light our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. For those of you at home, feel free to light your own candle or chalice if you have one. Please say with me the words of our chalice lighting printed in your order of service. We light this chalice for the light of truth and the warmth of love and the fire of commitment. We light the symbol of our faith as we gather together. Thank you.
Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 324 in your gray hymnal. Please remain standing and greet one another. If you're online, share what your favorite flower is this spring. Let us come back together. Our story this morning is A Day at the Lawn by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Wendy. She loved grass, the green lawn grass. What can I say? She loved it. She loved the feel of it in her toes. She loved the smell of it. She loved the feel of it, the look of it, everything about it. Its bright green color. Wendy loved grass more than anything. One day, her family decided to go to the beach, though. Wendy wasn't too sure about that. "Come on," said her older brother. "We can go swimming. We can collect rocks and shells. And you can bury me in the sand," said her dad. It sounded like fun, but she wasn't too sure. When they got to the beach, it sure looked great. But as she started walking, the sand was hot on her feet, and she couldn't step. I really wish it were grass. The thing about Wendy is she has a fairy that grants her every wish. And so the sand turned to grass. "Well, I guess I'm not getting buried today," said Dad. So they walked on the grass, set their stuff down, and said, "Well, at least we can go collect rocks and shells." And so they walked down to the water to collect rocks and shells, and Wendy stepped on a rock and hurt her foot. The fairy didn't even have to hear her say anything. He turned everything to grass. Her family, being the good Unitarian Universalists they were, just went with it. They said, "Well, at least we can go swimming." So they all put their blankets down, ran to the water, jumped in. Wendy got to the water, and it was too cold. Instant grass. Everything grass. "Well, at least we can have our picnic," said the family, and they sat down to eat their lunch. And Wendy just pet the grass, smelled the grass. But she looked around and she's like, "This is getting kind of boring. It's all the same. There's nothing different." "Well, we went to the beach and we're at the lawn," her mom said. "This isn't the way it's supposed to be." "You made it all the same," said her dad. "The sand, the rocks, the water, each was different, and you made them the same because their differences made you feel uncomfortable. But those differences also make them special and beautiful, and without them, there's a whole lot missing. And in fact, everything that makes this place special, is what's missing. And that means you are missing out on everything you really came for." Wendy thought about that as she pet the grass. She thought, "Well, I kind of liked the water. I kind of liked seeing all the different shells, and the sand wasn't that hot. I could step on my sandals on the sand." And then she said, "I want everything to go back the way it was." And the fairy granted her wish. They ended up having the best day after everything went back. She got to bury her dad. She got to play in the water. She got to sit under the sun. She still loves grass more than anything, but she's learned to love other things too. And when she's come across things that she doesn't like, that's okay. She's never, ever wanted everything to be the same, because she knows that things are supposed to be different, each thing as it is, and that exploring new things makes life so much more fun. So my hope for you from this story is that you take the comfort from the things that you know, and you lean into the differences and joy that they can bring to your life, even when they're uncomfortable. And that is our story.
Now is the time for our unison covenant. A covenant is some of the promises that we make to each other as a community. Please rise in body or spirit and join me. The words are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another.
This past year, one of our students, Robert Jamonaville Jr., engaged in a program to earn the Unitarian Universalist Love and Help Cub Scout badge. I had a basic program that was developed almost a decade ago. There's been some changes in our faith since then, so I had to update it, and it was fun to do that. I added the UU values and some of the things that are in the current state of our faith. Along with his father, Robert, and his mentor, Sam King, Robert explored all aspects of Unitarian Universalism. He learned about the elements of worship service by sitting in the pews and engaging a worksheet activity that had him going through the order of service to find things, listening to my sermon to find things, looking at the hymnal to find things, and he earned a prize at the end as well. He learned about this congregation by going on a scavenger hunt through the halls while you were all in worship. He interviewed all types of people at the church to understand how their UU faith informs the work they do. If you were interviewed, can you raise your hand? So we've got a couple, and Sam, and me, and Alicia, and the choir, and he interviewed all kinds of people from the board, from RE, all aspects of the church. He thought through our UU values and what they mean to him, and I'm super, super proud of him and all the work that he did this year, the way that he tackled all the challenges that I put in front of him. Now, without further ado, I want to invite him up to share his own experience about his year.
This year, I've been learning a lot about Unitarian Universalism in pursuit of the UU Scouting emblem, Love and Help. I learned a lot of new things that I didn't know before. For example, that there's a UU association. I also learned about things such as the UU values, love, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, independence, and generosity, and also the UU sources, the wonder and awe, stories of people, world religions, Jewish and Christian teachings, science, and nature. I didn't expect that the UU sources would include world religions and Jewish and Christian teachings, as UU is already its own religion. But looking back on it, it makes sense to me now, because even Christianity pulls a lot of inspiration from Judaism. I also learned about the story of the chalice, about how it was originally the symbol of an organization that rescued Jews from the Nazis in the Second World War. And when the churches Unitarian and Universalism joined together, they took it as their symbol. I also learned stuff specific to UUSF, especially from the interviews I took. It was very interesting to learn so much about the church and about the different roles that people play. For example, I learned a lot about the various positions in the community, such as the lay chaplains and the worship associates, and how ministers in training come here for internships. I even learned about the staff members who just know a little bit of everything and help people with iPads. I also learned how the board members help select the ministers and how there's a forum before service almost every Sunday where people come and give talks. Now, there is actually a law in church services, but if you look at the order of service, it's the same structure every time. Also, I learned that the core members only practice once a week, yet they still sound very good and professional. I try to practice piano at least 3 times every week, and it still takes me months to learn a single song. So I don't know how they do it, but yeah. I was also very surprised about all the different roles UUSF has. Doing this led me to realize that there's a lot about UUism that I didn't know about, although none of the UU values surprised me that much. This church has given me a very good impression on UUism and the values that reflect that. I'm very grateful to all the people who helped me in this journey. to all the interviewees that took their time to help me, to Reverend Laura for helping organize all of this, and most of all, to my mentor in all of this, Sam, who helped guide me every weekend. In all, I learned a lot this year. It was very fun, exciting. Also, I hope that this wasn't too long and you haven't gotten bored, but yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure to be Robert's mentor for this past year. I've seen his curiosity, his interest in social justice, his interest in penguins, his sense of humor, and most of all, his budding UU values. Robert, it's been a pleasure to be a part of your journey, to help you explore your community around you, as well as hopefully learning some things about yourself. And without further ado, I am very pleased to be able to present to you with the Love and Help Certificate, a UU chalice necklace, as well as the Love and Help Scouting Badge. Congratulations, Robert!
Can we give him one more round of applause?
Your next assignment will be to start the fire at the UU retreat, the UUSF retreat in a couple weeks, and put it out safely. Our offering this week goes for the Edgewood Center for Children and Families that supports families in crucial moments at the very beginning, even before birth, in ways that support the health of a family over the long term, in ways that our government probably should be supporting families. An organization that started, as you see, in 1851, at the time that this congregation also was beginning to form, and the needs of a healthy San Francisco were being answered by its citizens. In the spirit of our long partnership in work to steward the city and its citizens towards greatest health and flourishing, the offering this morning will be given and gratefully received. Thank you. How did they learn that in 1 week? Miracles abound. Practice. I invite us into a spirit of meditation and prayer in the largest, most expansive senses. So quiet yourself, put aside the checklist in your mind, feel the seat upholding you and so much else in this life. And call out to what is beyond us, felt and known and unknown. God, we know by so many names, the spirit of life that moves through the world so powerfully. That force we can feel that lures us toward our place in the world and companions us in the bumpy places too. This morning, we hold everyone who is at some crossroads in their lives, in our lives. Some time of transition roiled in some change or seeking it. And we know too that life is always in some transition, our lives. Growing in greater independence and adulthood or toward dependence and interdependence. Growing in greater mastery over some art or discipline, or letting go of the desire for mastery. Growing less or more certain of our bodies. From birth, you and I enter a life of transitions, marked by things like graduations, first jobs, promotions, first loves, first heartbreak, welcoming children into our lives in all the ways that happens, or watching them take flight. Life is change. We hold all that that means for each of us right now. The wrestling, our own places of transition are demanding of us in practical choices, in the spiritual and emotional parts of that change too. The way maybe it invites us to see ourselves differently, understand our sense of our own value, our place in this world. The new fears it brings up, the new hopes, all the possibilities, all of it. Hold us, Spirit, in courage and creative engagement. Remind and replenish us in all that we need to weather these transitions with grace, with courage, and make good choices if there are ones to make, and continue to serve the world abundantly. Help us all to be Eagle Scouts in the work of navigating life's transitions, valedictorians in adventuring through change. and bless the young people before us this morning. Bless Robert as he continues to grow and deepen in his sense of what values are important, and this faith as part of his leadership, and the moral compass that he carries with him beside that other one that points to that other true north. And bless Jackson and Isabel at this threshold moment into a new stage of learning and adulting. May they be alive to whatever are the most important questions that they need to answer at this point in their lives. May they trust their deepest instincts, draw on the wisdom of those around them they trust, the strength we know they have to do hard and worthy things. And may they know in their bones that there are many big choices ahead, but so many good ones, and a lot of time to find their way. For each of us in our times of transition, whatever they are, may we make room for joy in the transitions. Know that each time we are handed a box that involves the unfolding surprises of the next chapter of our lives, it has plenty of blessings along with the uncertainties and adventures we can surrender ourselves to. And that we carry with us a community of people in this faith who are on these wild adventures of curiosity and courage and change with them. Blessings to Robert and Jackson and Isabel, and to us all. I invite us in this threshold moment to surrender into a brief time of shared silence, to still ourselves and listen for what Spirit would like to say or how it would like to move inside us. And to invite those who may have lost someone close in this past year or who have some heaviness on their hearts to put their hand over their heart if they wish to, or stand in witness to that struggle or loss, so that we hold these losses together. Blessings and amen.
Your In the story of The Little Prince, there is a compelling scene in which he arrives on a new planet and encounters a businessman. We know it's a businessman because he is counting. He is too busy counting to lift his head in response to the little prince's greeting. He is behind his desk working on a huge ledger, counting much like this. 3 and 2 make 5, 5 and 7 make 12, 12 and 3 make 15, 15 and 7 make 22, 22 and 6 make 28, 26 and 5 make 31. Whew. That makes 501,622,731. He takes a breath, and the little prince asks, 500 million what? It is such a simple question, isn't it? But the man, the one counting, only responds to the little prince in this way. Are you still there? 501 million, I can't stop. I have so much to do. I am concerned with matters of consequence. And I don't amuse myself with boulder dash. 2 and 5 make 7. Matters of consequence. There he was behind his desk, counting without pause, counting a thing of beauty whose name he could not remember. Those little glittering objects in the sky, he called them. Stars? He was counting and recounting stars, gathering them up by the millions, owning them, banking them in hopes of one day being rich from selling them. He was tending to matters of consequence. The businessman in the story is by no means unique. When invited into a moment of human connection, when invited to ponder the literal glittering, the stars, to notice and grow playfully curious about them, he declined. He would lose track of counting. He would have to stop, break away from his ledger, look up, and take in and behold the little glittering objects in the sky, the stuff of dreams. To take them in would mean opening himself up to learning more. He declined because matters of consequence to which he was attending were far too important and could not wait. All questions were interruptions. All the moments of being invited to engage were boulder dash. He had no use for the person before him seeking to be in relationship. And so it is with all of us sometimes. We are drawn into important tasks and forget the whole world around us, ready for our curious gaze. What if we attended to one another, to the ordinary encounters and conversations with intrigue? What if instead of clinging to certainty, we paused and made room for holy curiosity? The poet Rumi writes, "This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some monetary awareness comes from an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them," he says. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Every moment, every interruption has something to offer, something to teach. The beauty is being able to greet each new or familiar arrival with a learning mind instead of a knowing mind, and forgive ourselves when we are not able to. What if you had one moment today in which you were gently interrupted from tending to the matters of consequence, or in which you encountered the unfamiliar? What if you paused and viewed that moment as a guest, an unexpected visitor from whom you had much to learn? What questions would you ask? How would you listen? How would you choose to be?
Hi, I'm Jackson Munn. I've always been curious about politics across the world, seeing what makes great leaders and what separates them from campaigns that fail is endlessly fascinating. I think the interest began when I learned about Bernie Sanders when he campaigned for president back in 2016. I liked his speeches about prison reform and the environment. I've shared this interest with friends both in person and online. I would like at some point to be a politician or a civil servant as a way to give back to the community and to lead change. I like learning about public and foreign policy, and I want to use it to make the world a better place. I also think that studying economics will set me on the right path because ultimately it is the study of what is important to society. Starting with my admiration for Bernie Sanders and continuing with the success of Zoran Mandami in New York, I've become a fan of Democratic Socialists of America and Justice Democrats. I've worked for the Shoikat Chakrabarti campaign for Congress, and this has shown me that we have more in common with each other than we have differences. One reason I've been working for Shoikat for Congress is that I believe we need to replace corrupt politicians with ones with big ideas and an appetite for change. Ideas like the Green New Deal or the California high-speed rail need to be championed instead of increasing fossil fuel subsidies or deregulating artificial intelligence. I want to be proactive about policies, but also be curious about them. Good ideas should not be partisan. Even if it comes from the other party, doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Ted Cruz last year proposed a bill that would set term limits for senators and representatives, which would increase turnover in Congress. Seeing that someone I've disagreed with for years could propose a bill like this means that policy can come from anyone or any party. I want to be curious about legislation itself and what it does before looking at who supports it. In this way, we can find common ground. Common ground allows us to pass more legislation in a divided Congress, even with the increased political polarization. Being curious is a virtue and is an incredibly useful skill, especially in our age of misinformation and artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for gathering here today. If at any point you looked down and were surprised that today's youth-focused service centered around non-judgmentalness, you would not be alone. In many ways, non-judgmental teenagers can be an oxymoron. Teenagers, and particularly myself, are notoriously harsh critics, quick to judge, and often quicker to express it. As a child of the social media era, judgment has often defined how I behave. For example, determining whether a 30-second TikTok is worthy of my attention, or comparing the amount of likes I got on an Instagram post to my friends, while insisting that like counts don't really mean anything, but secretly wanting at least a couple more hearts than they did. Judgment has dictated how I think about the world and my role within it. As the granddaughter of UU minister John Burens, being a member of this congregation was never an option growing up. Particularly once Grandpa Boo was hired as the senior minister here at UUSF, every Sunday, Mom would take me and my sister to go to church, for Sunday school, or to hear him preach. Despite Reverend Boo's eloquent sermons, I had a difficult time growing up in a religious community based in San Francisco, one of the most secular cities in the world. Throughout elementary and middle school, I'd lie to my friends and say I was Christian to avoid having to explain what Unitarian Universalism was. I couldn't understand how I was part of a religion that did not preach faith to a God, but rather faith to one another. In school, whenever religion was mentioned, it was in the context of wars and foreign historical battles or disparaged for promoting outdated belief systems. Our Bay Area pop culture that conflates religion with control made me even less excited about having to explain to my friends, again, why I was not free to hang out Sunday at 11 a.m. But soon, I began Catholic high school, and with monthly Mass requirements, I quickly stopped complaining about UU service. To me, personally, I found Mass isolating and especially confusing. While my mom raised me UU, my dad's side of the family is Jewish, an identity I clung to throughout high school to excuse my inability to recite the Nicene Creed from memory. Being a 16-year-old, part Jewish, part Unitarian girl in Catholic Mass radically changed the way I saw the UU community. Rather than complain about having to go to Sunday school, I started appreciating that it was not 2-hour Mass, and there were almost always snacks involved. Snacks were the selling point of Sunday school for me. Armed with this burgeoning grateful perspective, I started recognizing all the parts of UUism that I did appreciate. I began resonating with the covenant more. I figured that even if I struggled to see myself as actively involved in the community as my mom and grandfather did, I still liked being part of a church with love as its spirit and service as its prayer. To me, spirituality is strongest when love is most abundant. And that idea has helped me understand how a religion with no direct God or Christ-like figure, or even any unique holidays of its own, can unite and sustain entire communities. Once I recognized the magnitude of our covenant, I began to see all the ways I live out UU principles every day. I found that one of the easiest ways to live out these principles is through a dedicated gratitude practice. Whether you find gratitude through the community that UUSF offers, or simply by counting the many blessings that surround you, finding something to be grateful for is the fastest way to ground yourself in love, the spirit of the UU Church. Perhaps more difficult, though, is the second part of that opening line, service is its prayer. But by virtue of sharing the love we have for ourselves, each other, and our mission, we connect and foster new relationships. Both love and service at their best are non-judgmental. In so many ways, UUSF has taught me the power of non-judgmentalness. As a younger kid, I found it difficult not to judge Reverend Allison for always taking pictures during her sermons, or pass judgment on how long my grandfather spent talking to each person that went up to him after service, even though he knew there was a super long line of people waiting behind him. But over time, as I recommitted myself to trying to be kinder and more non-judgmental, I realized that Allison was just trying to document the people she truly loved so she would have something to look back on once she retired. And Reverend Boo believed the most important aspect of his job was to listen and connect, and spending time with congregants after service was often more sacred than the sermon he delivered. As we close, and as I head off to college, major in law, justice, and social change at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, I challenge us all to find at least one way to reconsider non-judgmentalness as openness. This can mean paying more attention to the people around us, whether we make a more conscious effort to smile more, or practicing how to listen to understand, rather than listening to respond. We can also memorialize moments with friends, take selfies like Allison, or journal more. Every day, find something new to thank your loved ones for and express your gratitude. Don't let long lines or outside pressure prevent you from connecting with new people. Find a cause you're passionate about. Devote your time and energy to it. Non-judgmentalness, at its core, is an openness to love. And if there's one thing this congregation has taught me, through Sunday school snacks, games during our annual retreat, and the hanging of the green ceremony, it's that love, when we open our eyes to it, is all around us. So as I leave for Ann Arbor next fall, I take the non-judgmentalness and love this community has shown me, and I am inspired to share it with others. Thank you.
I get the privilege of working with these youth every year on this service, and it's such a joy and honor. My heart gets so full of the amazing wisdom that they bring every single year, no matter who is up here. When I create the service, I hold it lightly so their creativity can come through. And to hear them say that they wanted to bring curiosity and non-judgmentalism to all of you was a gift. I encourage each of you to take the challenges that they've issued. What does it mean to be non-judgmental? To be curious, not just about each other, about our world, but like Robert did, about our faith. Some questions, maybe? Where in your life are you leading with curiosity? What narratives or stories are you allowing to frame your ideas about another person? If you're an elder, what are the stories you're telling yourselves about young people? And if you're young people, what are the stories you're telling yourself about elders? Underlying all of this is that holy curiosity that Diana shared with us, that all of them shared with us. Let's remember that as we go forward this week. And I also want to lift up Diana and Sam, who also led our youth group this year and met with our high school and middle school kids once a month, giving them nachos, pizza, games, all kinds of activities. So thank you, Diana and Sam. Now let's turn our attention to honoring our graduating seniors and the spirit of curiosity they have cultivated today.
So let me invite our graduating high school seniors forward. Isabel Murray and Jackson Munn, come stand front and center while you have the chance. You are each going to receive a beautifully crafted wooden box that's made by Mary Castiglia's son, Chris Castiglia. Inside the box is a chalice necklace, some inspirational stickers, and a book of wisdom to carry with you, but you can continue to add things that you want to bring with you into this next phase of your being.
Jackson and Isabel, we send you forward into your next chapter with blessings and hopes for your future.
May life bring you enough challenges to fuel your dreams, enough affirmation to honor and know more deeply your gifts, enough wonder to keep you creative, and enough nurture to give your spirit peace.
Believe in your vision, follow your dream, cultivate your curiosity, and expand your love always. And know, when you return to us, here you will find hands of friends and fans. Let's give them a round of applause. Now let's rise for our closing hymn in our gray hymnal, number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky.
Good morning. I'm Linda Enger from the Board of Trustees. As today's worship comes to a close, we can all take some comfort in knowing that the future will be bright, based on what we've heard of leadership from this new generation we heard today. The order of service describes many activities happening around this church, and you're welcome to join any of interest to you. After the service, there are some activities you may want to enter into, and I would like to ask Emma Wakeling to come tell us about one of them.
Hi, good morning. I'd like to invite anybody who is feeling new to the UUSF community to join us at the newcomer orientation today at 12:30 after service. We'll be in the fireside room. It's a very chill, casual drop-in meeting for you to come and learn a little bit more about how you can get involved in our community, meet some members, and ask any questions that you might have. We have them every month, so if you can't make it this time, hope to see you next. But I'll be waiting in the gallery if you'd like some directions. I hope you can join us. Thanks, Linda.
Alternatively, you can join the pagan interest circle around the maypole in the courtyard to greet the spring solstice in a Beltane celebration. But I especially want to invite you to stay with us to join a special Squips event at 1:30, where you will hear daring feats of opera. 3 wonderful performers will amaze us with the best this art form has to offer, and it's going to be a great performance. A light lunch is available so that you won't be hungry, and you can stick around until that event at 1:30. There's much for us to celebrate today, and we invite you to join with us for coffee and conversation in the courtyard.
Two more things. One, our final youth group gathering will be in Kincaid with pizza and joy. So if you want to join, feel free to do so. And this is the last week to register for All Church Retreat. So if you want to, please do so. And today is the last day to ask for a scholarship. Okay? Extinguish the chalice. Okay. Now we extinguish our chalice, holding on to the spark of curiosity that we have cultivated today, and take it with us through our days ahead. I invite you to rise and join hands together for our benediction. May we find comfort in the things that we know. May we find joy and lean into curiosity for the things that make us uncomfortable. And may we carry the holy curiosity with us each and every day as we go forward. Much love and amen.